Okay, so get this. You've sent us like a mountain of stuff about building an LLM device that can run locally.
Wow.
Articles, presentations, even some really interesting YouTube
You don't
comments.
put a lot of research.
Clearly, this whole idea of like tiny AI in the palm of your hand, it's really captured your imagination.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
So are you ready to like take a deep dive with us into this world of miniature AI?
Absolutely, let's do
You've
it.
been doing a lot of digging on this. What's the core idea here?
Well, at its heart, what we're talking about is how to take large language models, LLMs,
Right, LLMs.
and get them onto a device that you can actually hold in your hand.
So instead of needing like a whole server farm.
Exactly. Typically, LLMs require a ton of computing power. I mean, we're talking huge data centers and all that.
But this is about shrinking it all down.
Right, bringing that power down to a much smaller scale.
And that's where M5Stack comes in.
Yeah, M5Stack is a company that makes these modular devices. Think of them like building blocks for electronics.
Oh, interesting.
They have this core series, which is like the foundation.
Okay.
And then you can add all sorts of different modules and units to it to change what it can do.
So it's like a tiny customizable computer.
Pretty much. And the wild part is you can actually give it the power to run an LLM.
Okay, now that is mind-blowing.
Right, and they have this module designed specifically for that. It's called the LLM module.
So the LLM module, that's where the magic happens.
That's where things get really interesting.
So let's talk about it. What makes this module tick? What's the tech behind it that lets it handle something as complex as an LLM?
Well, the key is a chip called the AX630C. It's made by a company called Xera.
Xera, not Alexa.
Right, not Alexa. This chip is purpose-built for AI tasks, and it's surprisingly powerful.
I mean, when you think about it, like a Raspberry Pi, a lot of people use those for DIY projects.
Exactly, and this chip blows the Raspberry Pi out of the water in terms of AI processing.
Wow, so you've got this powerful AI chip on a module that plugs into an M5Stack device. But what kind of device are people actually using to build these pocket-sized AI projects?
One of the popular choices is the M5Stack card queuer. It's literally the size of a credit card.
No way.
Yeah, but it's got a screen button, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, pretty much everything you need to interact with the LLM module.
That's crazy. It's like a tiny AI computer.
It really is.
I did see, though, that the buttons on the card computer can be a bit fiddly to use.
Yeah, that's a common theme with a lot of these projects, but it's part of the charm in a way.
Why do you think that is? Why are people drawn to that kind of like retro tech feel?
I think it speaks to the whole maker spirit behind this movement. It's like a throwback to those early days of personal computing when people were building things themselves from scratch.
Like a love for the DIY aspect.
Exactly. There's a certain romanticism to it, a celebration of that DIY ethos.
It's interesting you use the word romanticism because one of the presentations you sent talks about building what they call a shoddy chat GPT using these tools.
Oh, yeah, that one's a classic.
It kind of embraces the limitations of doing this kind of local LLM stuff.
Right. It's not trying to be perfect.
So what makes it shoddy, and why would anyone want to build something that's intentionally limited?
Well, shoddy because it's obviously not going to be as powerful or have as many features as the real ChatGPT.
Because that's running on massive servers.
Exactly. You're working with limited processing power on a tiny device, so you have to make compromises.
But there's a trade-off, right?
Of course, the big one is that it works offline. You have that privacy and portability.
Ah, that makes sense. No need to rely on an internet connection.
Exactly. And for a lot of people, that's a huge selling point. They want an AI that they control that isn't dependent on some big tech company.
It's about owning your tech.
Totally.
So you've sent us a ton of presentations from people who have actually built these LM card computers. What kind of things are they working on?
There's a lot of variety out there.
Cool.
One that I thought was really interesting was from someone who built an LLM card cuter and then shared the code online for anyone to use.
That's awesome.
And they were very upfront about not being an expert in LLMs. They just wanted to learn by doing.
It's that classic make your mindset.
Exactly. You don't need to be an expert to start experimenting and creating.
I love that.
There was another presentation that focused mainly on designing and 3D printing a custom case for their device.
So even the practical physical stuff is part of the process.
Absolutely. It's all part of this creative process.
It's like a whole different way of approaching technology.
It really is. And what's so cool is that it's happening at this intersection of like super advanced AI and almost retro tech aesthetics.
You're not just using tech, you're getting your hands dirty.
Exactly.
It's very hands-on.
It is, but it's not all smooth sailing. Of course, there are definitely challenges that people are running into trying to build these local LLM devices.
Like what?
Well, one of the first hurdles is something called StackFlow.
StackFlow.
It's a framework that M5Stack developed. It's supposed to be a way to connect all their different devices and LLM modules together.
So you can create like a whole network of local AIs.
Exactly. It's a very ambitious idea.
Sounds it.
But the issue is that it's super complex and the documentation isn't the greatest.
So even experienced users are struggling with it.
Yeah, a lot of them have said they find Stackflow really hard to understand and use.
So it's powerful in theory, but maybe not quite ready for prime time in terms of user friendliness?
I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay, so Stackflow is one challenge. What else?
Another thing people have mentioned is the problem of inconsistent APIs.
Now, for those of us who aren't programmers, what does that mean and why is it a problem?
So an API, or application programming interface, is basically a set of rules that determine how different pieces of software talk to each other.
Okay.
If the APIs are inconsistent, it means that the way you write code for the LLM module might not work the same way across different M5Stack devices, or even different versions of the same device.
Ah, so it makes development really unpredictable.
Yeah, and frustrating, and because this technology is evolving so quickly, it can be really hard to keep up with all the changes and inconsistencies.
There's one last challenge I wanted to touch on, and that's the whole issue of licensing.
Oh, right.
One of the presentations you sent actually mentioned potential legal issues that can come up when building custom operating systems for these devices.
Yeah, that's definitely something to be aware of.
Especially if you're modifying the software that comes pre-installed on the LM module.
Exactly. Building a custom OS often involves using software components that have specific licenses attached to them.
So you need to understand the terms of those licenses.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you could run into some legal trouble.
So it's not just about the technical skills, but also having the legal know-how.
Right. You need to do your research and be careful.
Okay, so we've talked about the hardware, the M5 stack, the LLM module, the card computer. We've seen some of the real-world projects that people are building, and we've touched on some of the challenges they're facing.
It's a fascinating landscape for sure.
But I get the feeling that the potential of this tech goes way beyond just text processing.
Oh, you're absolutely right. We've only just scratched the surface.
This is where it gets really exciting. Tell me everything.
All right, so what we've been discussing so far mainly involves LLMs working with language, right?
Right.
But there's a whole world of possibilities when you start incorporating vision and sound into the mix.
Okay, now you're talking.
Have you come across the term VLM in your research?
I have, but honestly, I'm not totally sure what it is.
No worries, VLM stands for Vision Language Model.
Okay.
Think of it as an AI that can not only analyze images, but also understand the language associated with those images.
So it's like giving your device eyes and a brain at the same time.
Precisely, it can see and understand the visual world in a way similar to how LLMs understand text.
That's wild.
It is one presenter actually showed a live demo of a VLM running on an LLM card computer, analyzing pictures of a cat and a dog.
No way. And how did it do? Was it able to identify them correctly?
For the most part, yeah, there was one funny moment where it misinterpreted a dog running around a car as fibers falling. Clearly, the training still needs some work.
It's still learning.
It is, but the fact that this is even possible on such a small device is incredible.
It's like having a mini AI research lab right there in your pocket.
Exactly.
What about sound? Can these devices handle audio too?
Absolutely. There are techniques like keyword spotting, which lets the device listen for specific words or phrases, and automatic speech recognition, or ASR, which converts spoken language into text.
Hold on, let me get this straight. We're talking about a device the size of a credit card that can see, hear, and chat with you all using AI and all without an internet connection.
That's exactly what we're talking about, and the potential applications are mind-boggling.
This is like straight out of science fiction.
It really is, and the best part is we're just getting started.
This is only the beginning.
It is. We've barely scratched the surface of what's possible with this technology.
This deep dive is already blowing my mind.
We're just getting warmed up. There's so much more to explore in this world of local AI.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll delve even deeper into some of the technical details and advanced concepts that you've uncovered in your research. We'll talk about custom operating systems, quantization, and even a tool called Pulsar 2. Stay tuned. So we've established that you're really into this idea of building a local LLM device.
Yeah.
And we've talked about like the basics, the M5 stack ecosystem, the AX630C chip,
Right.
and those amazing projects that people are creating.
It's incredible what people are coming up with.
It is, what I find so fascinating is this blend of cutting-edge tech and almost like a retro DIY aesthetic.
It's this weird mix of high-tech AI and almost like a pocket calculator vibe.
Exactly. And I think that brings us to like the core of this deep dive. It's not just about the tech itself, it's about the people behind it.
Totally.
Their motivations, their creativity, the challenges they're embracing.
It's a whole community.
It is. So let's talk about some of the specific projects that you've been looking at. There was this one presentation about an LLM card computer running a vision language model, or VLM.
Oh yeah, that one was impressive.
That I found particularly interesting.
The presenter actually showed a live demo analyzing images of a cat and a dog with the device.
Right, and it worked surprisingly well.
It did.
Except for that one funny moment where the VLM misinterpreted a dog running like a car as fibers falling.
Yeah, there are always going to be some quirks when you're dealing with tech, this cutting edge.
Of course.
But the fact that that level of visual and language processing is even possible on a device that small is pretty remarkable.
It really is like having a mini AI lab in your pocket.
It is.
Another project that caught my eye was one focused on building a custom operating system for the LLM module.
Yeah, that's getting into some serious DIY territory.
It seems like a really advanced undertaking.
It is, but it really highlights the level of customization that's possible with these devices. You're not limited to just the pre-installed software.
Right.
You can literally build your own OS from scratch.
So what are the advantages of going that route? Why go through all that effort?
Well, for one thing, it gives you complete control over the device.
You're not at the mercy of whatever the company provides.
Exactly. You can optimize it for specific tasks. You can strip away unnecessary features to save space and processing power.
Make it lean and mean.
Right, and you can even add our own custom features.
So it's like building your own custom computer, but on a miniature scale.
That's a great analogy. And just like building a custom computer, it requires a certain level of technical expertise.
Speaking of which, in one of the presentations, the speaker mentioned some potential licensing issues with building custom OS images.
Oh, yeah. That's an important point.
What should people be aware of in that regard?
Well, when you're building a custom OS, you're often using software components that are licensed under different terms and conditions.
Right.
So it's crucial to understand those licenses and make sure you're complying with them.
Otherwise, you could get into some legal hot water.
Exactly.
So it's not just about the technical skills, it's also about having the legal know-how.
You need to do your research.
Absolutely. What other kind of advanced concepts have you come across in your research? I know you mentioned something called quantization earlier.
Oh, right. Quantization, that's a technique used to reduce the size of a machine learning model without sacrificing too much performance.
Okay, so why would you want to reduce the size of a model? Isn't bigger always better when it comes to AI?
Not necessarily. Larger models require more memory and processing power, which can be a problem on a small device like the LLM module.
Ah, it's about making it fit.
Exactly. Quantization lets you shrink the model down to a more manageable size.
How does it do that without, like, messing up the accuracy?
It basically reduces the precision of the numbers used in the model, kind of like rounding them off.
Okay.
And in a lot of cases, this reduction in precision doesn't really affect the overall accuracy of the model that much.
So you're trading a little bit of accuracy for a big gain in efficiency.
Precisely. It's a trade-off that makes it possible to run these complex AI models on devices with limited resources.
Makes sense. And you also mentioned a tool called Pulsar 2? What role does that play in this whole ecosystem?
So Pulsar 2 is a software tool developed by Xera.
The company that makes the AX630C chip.
Right. It's used to convert machine learning models into a format that can be run on the chip's NPU.
NPU, now what's that?
NPU stands for Neural Processing Unit. It's a specialized hardware component that's designed to speed up AI tasks.
So it's like a GPU, but specifically for neural networks.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So Pulsar 2 helps to make the models run faster and more efficiently on the AX630C chip.
That's right. It handles the conversion and optimization process, including the quantization that we talked about.
So it's a pretty important piece of the puzzle.
It is. It's one of the key things that makes this whole local LLM thing possible.
I'm noticing this recurring theme in your research, this tension between cutting-edge AI and this kind of retro DIY aesthetic.
It's a funny juxtaposition, isn't it?
It is. On one hand, you've got these sophisticated AI models and specialized hardware.
Right.
And on the other, you have people 3D printing cases and soldering components.
It's like high-tech meets arts and crafts.
It really is. But what do you think is driving this whole movement? Why are people so drawn to building these local LLM devices?
Well, I think there are a few reasons. One is privacy.
Privacy is a big one these days.
It is. With a local LLM, your data stays on your device. You don't have to rely on a cloud service.
So you're not subject to their data collection practices.
Exactly.
Another reason could be portability.
Absolutely. With a local LLM device, you can take your AI with you wherever you go. No internet connection required.
That opens up a lot of possibilities.
It does.
Like what?
Imagine a portable medical diagnosis tool that could analyze symptoms and provide treatment recommendations even in remote areas without internet access.
That would be incredible.
Or educational tools for developing countries where reliable internet is scarce.
Wow, those are some seriously life-changing applications.
They are. And then, of course, there's the undeniable coolness factor.
Oh, yeah.
Who wouldn't want to have their own personal AI assistant in their pocket?
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It is, and I think you also have to factor in the joy of creation.
The satisfaction of building something yourself.
Right, there's something deeply satisfying about building something with your own hands, especially when it involves tech as complex and cutting edge as this.
You're not just a consumer, you're a creator.
Exactly.
You actually built your own LM card computer, right?
I did.
What was that experience like?
It was challenging, but ultimately very rewarding.
I bet.
One of the biggest hurdles was getting all the different hardware components to work together seamlessly.
It's like a delicate dance.
It is. There was a lot of trial and error, troubleshooting, a few moments of frustration, but seeing it all come together and realizing that I had built a functioning AI device with my own hands, that was an amazing feeling.
Like bringing a machine to life.
Yeah, it really was. And the best part is it's an ongoing project.
You can keep tinkering with it.
Exactly. I can continue to modify it, upgrade it, explore new possibilities. It's a constant learning process.
Having spent so much time with this technology, where do you see the future of local LLMs heading? What trends are you excited about, and what challenges do you think still need to be addressed?
Well, one trend that I'm particularly excited about is the increasing affordability of AI hardware.
That's a big one.
It is the AX30C chip is a great example. It's a relatively low-cost chip that offers impressive performance for its size.
And as those manufacturing techniques improve, we can expect even more powerful and affordable AI chips in the future.
Exactly.
So this tech is going to become even more accessible to the average person.
I think so, and that has the potential to really democratize AI and empower individuals to create and innovate in ways that we haven't even thought of yet.
It's a whole new world of possibilities.
It is, but of course there are still challenges that need to be overcome. One of the biggest is the need for more user-friendly tools and frameworks.
Yeah, right now building and deploying local LLMs can be pretty technical.
It can be as the technology matures. I think we'll see more inclusive tools that make it easier for people without a deep technical background to get involved.
So it's not enough to just have the powerful hardware you need to make the software and the development process more accessible.
Exactly. We also need better documentation and educational resources.
People need to be able to learn and understand how this stuff works.
They do. There's a lot of information out there, but it can be scattered and difficult to find.
It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
It can be. We need comprehensive guides, tutorials, courses that are well organized and easy to understand. That would be a huge help for people who are just getting started.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about building a supportive ecosystem.
Right, an ecosystem that encourages learning, experimentation, collaboration.
And that's where communities like the M5Stack community come in.
Exactly. They provide a platform for people to share their knowledge, ask questions, troubleshoot problems, inspire each other.
It's a collective effort driven by this shared passion.
For exploring the possibilities of AI.
So we've talked about the affordability of AI hardware, the need for more user-friendly tools and better documentation, and the importance of community and collaboration. Any other thoughts on the future of local LLMs?
One area that I think will be particularly interesting to watch is how local LLMs intersect with other emerging technologies like augmented reality and the Internet of Things.
Oh yeah, let's talk about augmented reality. What are some of the potential applications there?
Well, imagine AR glasses that are powered by a local LLM and a VLM.
Okay.
They could analyze your surroundings in real time and provide you with relevant information, guidance, even personalized content based on your context.
So instead of just overlaying digital information on the real world, these AR glasses could actually understand and interact with that world.
Exactly. And because the LLM is running locally, you wouldn't need a constant internet connection for these features to work.
So you could have this kind of augmented intelligence anywhere, anytime.
That's the idea.
Now, Lazen, taking it a step further, what if these AR glasses were also equipped with sensors that could track your biometrics, your emotions, your surrounding?
That's where things get really interesting. The AI could then tailor its responses and suggestions based on your current state of mind, your physical well-being, even the time of day.
It's like having an AI companion that truly understands you.
It is. It could anticipate your needs, help you navigate the world in a way that's completely personalized.
That's a powerful vision of the future.
It is, and I think local LLMs could be the key to making it a reality.
It's exciting, but it also makes you think about the potential impact of this technology on our lives.
Of course.
As we move towards a future where AI is so seamlessly integrated into our everyday experiences, we need to be mindful of the ethical implications.
Absolutely, we need to develop and deploy these technologies responsibly with a focus on transparency, privacy, and user control.
AI is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it could be used for good or for bad.
It's a double-edged sword.
It's up to us to ensure that we're using it to enhance our lives and empower individuals, not to control or manipulate them.
We have a responsibility to use it wisely.
So as you continue to explore this world of local LLMs, keep those ethical considerations in mind.
I will.
This technology has the potential to be truly transformative, but it's up to us to shape that transformation in a way that benefits humanity.
We have the power to decide how this unfolds.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, from the basics of LLMs to the advanced concepts that are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. We've discussed the challenges, the motivations, and the incredible potential of this technology. But what about those, quirky details?
Ah, yes.
Those little moments that make this technology feel so human, so relatable. Let's dive into those of our next segment. So we've explored, the big ideas, the potential applications, and the challenges of this local LLM world that you're so into. But now let's have some fun with, the details.
Okay.
You know, those quirky human moments that really bring this technology to life.
Yeah, those little details often reveal a lot about the spirit of this whole movement.
Exactly, like the fact that the M5Stack cardputers buttons can be a bit fiddly to use.
Oh, yeah, that's true. One presenter even compared them to the buttons on an old-school pocket calculator.
It definitely adds to that, DIY aesthetic.
It speaks to this sense of nostalgia, a throwback to those early days of personal computing when people were building things from scratch, experimenting, figuring things out as they went along.
I love that connection to the past. Another detail that really caught my attention was that whole shoddy ChatGPT project.
Ah, yes. The quest to build a local ChatGPT embracing its limitations.
It's a celebration of imperfection.
It is.
It really highlights that maker spirit we've been talking about. What do you think draws people to that concept?
I think it's about taking back control, proving that you don't need massive computing power and a big tech company to create something interesting and useful with AI.
Like a David and Goliath kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a statement about the democratization of technology.
It's a love letter to the power of ingenuity.
Totally. And the fact that it's intentionally shoddy makes it even more endearing.
It's like they're saying we don't need things to be perfect to find value in them.
Exactly.
Speaking of things that are still a work in progress, let's talk about StackFlow.
Oh yeah, that ambitious framework that promises to connect all these local AI devices together. It's a glimpse into the future.
It's like the internet, but for AI, a network of intelligent devices all communicating with each other.
Precisely. But as we've discussed, it's still a bit of a mystery to many users. The documentation could be more robust, and the API can be a bit unpredictable at times.
So it's got potential, but it needs some work.
It does.
It highlights that we're still in the early stages of this technology,
We are.
and there's a lot of room for growth and improvement.
Absolutely.
You know, while I was going through the YouTube comments on one of the presentations, I stumbled across this funny little detail. The default password for the LM module.
You mean the root situation?
Yes, not exactly the most secure setup.
Not ideal.
But it's another one of those little quirks that makes this technology feel so accessible, so human.
It's like the engineers were winking at us, acknowledging that this is still a work in progress, and inviting us to be a part of the journey.
I love that it's that sense of shared discovery and collaboration that makes this community so special.
It's a reminder that we're all learning together, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Okay, so we've had some fun exploring the quirks and the human side of this technology, but before we wrap up, I want to circle back to the idea of combining local LLMs with augmented reality that really seems to capture the imagination.
It's where the potential of this technology really starts to take shape. Imagine a world where we're not just interacting with AI through screens, but experiencing it seamlessly integrated into our physical environment.
So instead of just looking at our phones all the time,
Exactly. We'd be interacting with AI in a much more natural and intuitive way.
it's like having a personal AI assistant that's always with you, guiding you, informing you, even entertaining you, all through augmented reality.
Precisely. And because these LLMs are running locally, you wouldn't be tethered to an internet connection. You could have this kind of augmented intelligence anywhere, anytime.
Now imagine taking it a step further. What if these AI glasses were also equipped with sensors that could track your biometrics, your emotions, your surroundings?
Wow, that takes personalization to a whole new level. The AI could then tailor its responses and suggestions based on your current state of mind, your physical well-being, even the time of day.
It's like having an AI companion that truly understands you.
It is. It could anticipate your needs, help you navigate the world in a way that's completely personalized.
It's a pretty incredible vision of the future.
It is, and I think local LLMs could be the key to making it a reality.
It's exciting, but it also raises some questions about, the potential impact of this technology on our lives as we move towards a future where AI is so seamlessly integrated into our everyday experiences. I think we need to be mindful of the ethical implications.
Absolutely. It's crucial that we develop and deploy these technologies responsibly with a focus on transparency, privacy, and user control.
AI is a powerful tool.
It is.
And like any tool, it could be used for good or for ill.
A double-edged sword.
It's up to us to ensure that we're using it to enhance our lives and empower individuals, not to control or manipulate them.
We have a responsibility to use it wisely.
So as you continue to explore this world of local LLMs, keep those ethical considerations in mind. This technology has the potential to be truly transformative, but it's up to us to shape that transformation in a way that benefits humanity.
We have the power to decide how this unfolds.
This has been an amazing deep dive.
It has.
We've gone from what is an LLM to envisioning a future where AI is seamlessly integrated into our lives.
It's incredible how far this technology has come.
It is, and the most exciting part is that it's still early days.
We're just getting started.
Who knows what the future holds, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be an incredible ride.
It is. So keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to unlock the next breakthrough in AI.
The future is in your hands. 266 AI.
The future is in your hands.